Welcome to Behind the Book. Today, I have Kat Newport as my guest. She is the owner and coach of Oculus Inc. Today, we're going to be talking about conflict to growth and really how you can grow from your conflict experiences. We're just going to dive right into it. Welcome to Behind the Book, where I am your guide, Heather Andrews, unraveling the captivating stories from behind the pages. Join me as I sit down with authors from the literary landscape to delve into challenges, inspirations, and untold tales that breathe life into their written worlds. Welcome to this episode of Behind the Book. I have my special guest with us today, Kat Newport. Welcome, Kat. So excited to have you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about how your book came to be named Smart Conflict.
Coming into Smart Conflict. So I've always wanted to write a book ever since I was little. I can tell you, I didn't expect it to be on smart conflict. But after going through a career in the corporate world for so many years and seeing how conflict was managed so erratically. I wouldn't want to say poorly, but definitely erratically. Some were pretty good and some were pretty terrible. There were many, many lessons learned over the years about what conflict can do for an organization and how conflict can drive creativity and innovation in an organization. But if it's not managed well, how much trouble that can cause from an employee turnover rate, from attrition rates, all of that kind of thing. So
I love how you called it Smart Conflict. And in that, it's how is conflict smart? And I know you touched on it if it's not managed correctly, but just do a bit of a deep dive into if the person was to read your book, how would they discover smart conflict?
Absolutely. So SMART actually started out as a training program that I had built during my corporate career, and I kind of pulled that along with me, thinking that this was definitely a kernel that I wanted to dig in on a little bit more. Yeah. So SMART's actually an acronym because I found when people jump into conflict, they literally jump into conflict with no thought. I need to make myself feel better. I've got to do it now. I'm just going to let, guns go in a blazing. I'm just going to jump in and give it all. So SMART comes down to looking at the situation. So there's your S, measuring your emotional response so it's not over the top. Having an agenda, not a bad kind of agenda, a mending agenda, one you share and don't have under the table. The R stands for relationships. A lot of folks get lost inside the conflict and they don't see the damage they're doing to relationships as they move forward. So R is for relationships. And of course, T comes into time and place. And the book explores all of this and how they all tie together.
I love that. We've talked a lot about writing the book. And so how was that journey for you?
I think it had been there for quite a while, and when I finally left corporate, it was sort of that now or never kind of, let's go, let's pull it out. And surprisingly enough, it was fairly easy. I think this one had been, incubating for a long time. It was ready to be born. Mm-hmm. So it took a good 8 or 9 months, and I worked with somebody to help me flesh it out and put all the jumbled kind of thoughts into a bit more of a structure.
Yeah, for sure.
The idea was definitely there, but it definitely needed, some parameters around it so it flowed and it was readable. Lots of good ideas, but communicating that was a challenge in the beginning. So getting that out and getting the writing done, and then moving into editing and formatting, and then writing it again and
writing it again. When you think you're done and then you're not.
Exactly. So it's definitely been a process, but having a good, solid, strong idea to start with, I think, helped a lot. But it has been a journey, and I'm about month 12, 13 now.
Well, if you're at month 13, that's actually pretty good. I've had authors myself come into my company and we've published, and they've had their book on their computer for 14 years. So you're ahead of it.
Okay.
So if that's any consolation, you're ahead of it.
I will take it.
Yeah. So being that you wrote this book and you're also building your business now, what is the name of your business and how did that come to be?
So I run a business called Oculus Coaching Inc. or Oculus Inc. So Oculus, no, it's not what you think it is. An Oculus is actually a window. It's a circular window that you typically find in the roof of a building. Think the Pantheon in Rome. Why did I pick a strange window? When you talk about business coaching, when you talk about leadership, perspective is everything. Mm-hmm. And when I say window, you naturally get a picture in your head of this cute little rectangular window with the crisscross in the middle of it that's set in a wall, that's got some nice curtains on it and has glass. You don't normally think of a circular window set into a roof with no glass in it. It's a change of perspective. Beautiful. And so an Oculus is a window, just not the window you expect.
I love that. And as we've been working together and publishing your book, there's been a lot of talk about conflict in general. And as we are in this world, and I remember one of the things that always scared me was dealing with conflict amongst my employees when I was management, and worse yet, even having conflict with a coworker. And when we have the right tools, it can really make all of the difference. So what are sort of the top 2 things that you would say to someone that is in corporate that has conflict? Like, what would be those 2 things that you could offer them when they're watching this interview?
Oh, the first one that wants to jump right out of my mouth is proactivity. Boy, do not let it fester. Do not wait. Okay. There's a lot of times that our inherent fear of conflict says, nah, I'll get to it later. No, not now. And we end up talking ourselves out of it. We don't want to do it, so no. But as a leader, it's your job to not only deal with conflict, but nip it in the bud,
right,
as quickly as you can. So that's the first one.
Right.
And the second one is going to sound probably a little bit strange, but it's know what you're in conflict about.
I love that.
A lot of us go in saying, you didn't show up on time, and you're in trouble now, and we're going to have this conflict, and you got to show up on time. What we don't see is that the car broke down that morning after she took her mother to her cancer treatments at the hospital, and that's why she was late. And it changes the format of that conflict completely. It goes from why were you late? Sorry for pointing. Why were you late? To what can I do for you to make this easier for the next time? It's all about that situation, which is why smart conflict starts with an S. What's the situation?
I love that so much. And I remember years ago when I was doing conflict resolution as a course myself, and I think one of the things, and I think I told you this, was the one lady said, yeah, like if you're 1 in 10 people only know how to deal with conflict, so that the fact that you're in the room, even if it's only a day course, you're still ahead of the most of the world. And I love that you're bringing this awareness to conflict. So thank you so much. And as we wrap up today, I love that you said like proactivity and wonder what the conflict is about. Those are the 2 main things that you can walk away today. But where can people find you?
You can reach me through my website at smartconflictbook.com, or you can reach me at Kat Newport at Oculus Coaching Inc. Or my phone number for the business is 825-365-3533.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And you must reach out to Kat because her book is coming out in March, and it is probably one of the most smartest things that you could do is learn more about conflict. Thank you. Until next time, from Behind the Book. As we close another chapter on Behind the Book, I want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our wonderful authors for sharing their stories. I'm Heather Andrews, reminding you that the adventure doesn't end here. Keep turning those pages, and I will see you next time.